And welcome into the Xtra Point here on WEGL 91.1 FM or online at WEGLFM.com. I'm your host, Jared Dillard, and right next to me, it's the one, it's the only. It's Brooks Childress. Brooks, how are you doing on this fine day?
I'm great. Everything's great. Nothing's wrong with the world. I am fine.
You don't seem fine.
I am fine.
Well, Brooks, let's not sugarcoat it. We all know what's going on, but, you know, just like
listen,
avid,
listen, we all know what's going on. Minnesota is vastly underperforming this year than they should have, but you know what? We're going to keep rowing the boat.
Oh, I wasn't talking about Minnesota. I was talking about the fact that the Brewers are leading 2-1 over the Dodgers.
Let's go, Brew Crew.
Like, it is not processed in my head that that's what's going on right now.
Brewers are a good baseball team.
I'm realizing this.
I think the Dodgers will probably come back and tie the series up tonight because the Dodgers have not lost 2 in a row in the postseason yet.
They haven't. I believe the Brewers are the first team to have 3 shutouts in 6 games in the first 6 games in the postseason.
That's impressive.
Yeah, that's very impressive. NBA starts tonight.
Ooh-wee.
The NBA is back. My 76ers will be taking on the Boston Celtics tonight in the first NBA game of the season. The Mavericks play tomorrow. You do not have a favorite team, although nope. I've been prodding you for 2 years to get one. In my heart, you are a Pelicans fan.
I don't accept it.
You don't accept it, but that's what I'm going to give you. Great NFL game yesterday, Monday Night Football.
I only own one. Well, I own 2. I don't know where my Steph Curry jersey went. So right now, I only know where one NBA article that I own is, and that is a Ron Baker New York Knicks jersey.
Hey, where floats your boat, man. College football chaos has unraveled, and I want to talk about something that could happen in college football.
I love college football, especially this time of year because of the chaos. Like, people are jumping out of the polls.
And Brooks, talk about the time of year. It's finally under 80 degrees now.
Oh, it's so wonderful.
It is wonderful. The colors are changing. Everything is just, baseball, football, basketball is back.
In a few weeks here, we'll have college basketball back.
And it's all here on the Xtra Point on WEGL 91.1 FM or online at WEGLFM.com. And that will take us into the show. Brooks, let's talk about something that I witnessed this morning. I just want to get this out of the way. What? So, I was walking up here for the wake-up call. That shameless self-plug is from 7 to 9, Monday through Thursday on WEGL 91.1 FM.
I'm on Mondays and Wednesdays from 8 to 9.
We're never on the show together, which is the sad part. But
that's why we have this.
Exactly. I was walking up here and I saw something. And, I'm walking up. I can see the sunrise to my right. It's nice orange and red. I can see the trees. It was beautiful. It was serene. Saw a squirrel scurry across the ground. I
think some of this you're making up, but I'll let you keep going.
It's very Disney-like that I saw.
Did you hear
there's a lot of squirrels around? Come on, come on.
True. I was sitting on close to Sanford Lawn yesterday, and there was a squirrel eyeing my crepe from Crepe Myrtle.
Exactly.
I had to shoo it away.
And
did you hear the music do 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 do?
So I'm walking, and I realize something, Brooks. I see something. I see the Cam Newton statue, and there's something being draped on it. And I can't tell what it is. At first I thought it was like red tape. Maybe something happened to it. Maybe it needs to be repaired. Something happened, It happens, right?
Superhero. It was a superhero cape, wasn't it?
And then I get closer to it, and I realize it's red. And I'm like, that's odd.
Yeah, neither Auburn nor Carolina's colors are red.
And I get closer to it.
Or, I believe, Blinn, where he went between Auburn and Florida.
And I get closer to it, and Brooks, do you want to know what I realized as I got closer to it?
That you're colorblind.
No, but the infamous Alabama A is hanging off of Cam Newton. And as I get close to it, I realize that somebody has planted Alabama flags on Cam Newton's statue outside Jordan-Hare Stadium. And I took a picture of it, and I put it on social media, and many people are liking this tweet. I'm Twitter famous now, bro.
So another shameless plug there.
Another shameless plug at Jared_Dillard. But yeah, this is... Now, don't get me wrong, Brooks. As far as I know, the statue wasn't damaged. Nobody got hurt. It's just a little bit of rivalry prodding.
Yeah.
We can all laugh at it.
Sure.
I mean, laugh and cry at the same time, but laugh at it.
Well, you can laugh and also be, like, upset at the same time.
Sure. I mean, I'm not upset.
This is not unheard of for...
Didn't somebody put a Cam Newton jersey on the Bear Bryant statue not too long ago?
Right after we beat them in 2010, I believe, in the comeback game.
Oh, so this is a long time ago, actually.
It may have happened since then, but don't quote me on that. I know the last time I can remember it happening was when Auburn beat Alabama in the comeback game on the national championship year, and they did put a Cam Newton jersey on Bear Bryant.
Yeah.
But, it's not unheard of for this to happen. Every time it happens, the fan bases get upset at each other, but
I'm just trying to stoke the hostility between the two.
Sure.
I'm trying to make this Iron Bowl something to be remembered. But that's what I saw this morning. And it kind of leads into our next point. Alabama's kind of unstoppable right now.
Yeah. We kind of talked about this early, a few weeks ago, where we're it felt like I've made references several times this year, and I know people that are listening that love college football are like, what is he talking about? But it feels like Manchester City last year, when they basically won the championship in October, and everyone just said, all right, we'll play for second and third in the Premier League. But that's what it looks like right now, is that Alabama is so good and they're clicking on so many cylinders, and there's not much wrong, that everyone's just like, well, they're probably going to win the championship again this year. Let's just play for a playoff spot. Have that honor of being in the playoff.
And Georgia was thinking that until something happened. They lost.
I almost wore my LSU hat today.
You have an LSU hat?
I do.
What don't you have, actually?
That's a good question.
You have anything Boise State?
I do not.
See, I caught you now.
Yeah.
We'll get you something.
I have an elaborate system of how I buy my hats.
I see you got your, let's see, your Bay Bears shirt, which, are they still a team?
They will be for one more year.
Okay. And they're moving where?
Madison, Alabama.
To be the...
I'm not going to say it.
Say it.
No.
Say it. Trash Pandas. The Madison, Alabama Trash Pandas.
It hurts.
It'll be okay. I assume I'll build another team.
I hope so. It's not going to be the Bay Bears. It won't be... It's not my team, though.
And then you got your Oregon Ducks hat.
Yeah.
And if you want to see all this...
Let's go O.
Remember that the Extra Point can be seen on Eagle Eye TV, Channel 6, online at eagleeyeauburn.com, or on Eagle Eye TV's YouTube page at Eagle Eye TV. And you'll be able to see myself and my beautiful, handsome face, and then whatever this guy is.
Also beautiful and handsome.
And that is
not... Make that clear.
That is not what I believe.
LSU, back on our topic. Alabama is really good. Georgia...
Still a good team.
Georgia's still a good team. LSU has been not their season, but as members of the media that talk about it, has been the wildest roller coaster I can think of a team. Because you look at how they started out the year. Before the season, you're like, oh, we're not have much expectations. They're going to be 8-4, 9-3, maybe a 10-2 school. They're not going to challenge for the West. They're not going to be in the playoffs. They're just, they're going to get to another bowl game, another Coach O, like middle of the road bowl game. Then they open up and they beat a top 10 Miami. And you're like, okay, they're better than we thought, but I'm probably sure it's more, Miami's not as good as we thought.
Yeah.
Then they go on the road, but the Miami game was away from home. It was a neutral site, but it was still away from Tiger Stadium.
And alternate storyline, Miami loses to Virginia, so that added into it.
Then they went on the road and beat a top 10 Auburn team, who this was before Auburn started. It's kind of what started the slippery slope that Auburn has found their way sliding down rapidly and can't stop.
It's like a slip and slide, but a dangerous one.
Yeah. And there's not good things at the bottom.
There's not. It's a slip and slide where you didn't check when you put it down, so there's like a rock sticking out. You slide over it.
Oh, gosh.
But it's multiple rocks.
That was the worst thing in the world.
I just made everybody like cringe in their seat because everybody's been through that moment.
And so you're like, well, LSU's good, and we're still not sure how good they are, but they're pretty good. Then they come out and struggle against Louisiana Tech, and you're like, you see, this is what we were talking about. They're not that good. And then they come out and they lose to Florida, and you're like, okay, you see, they're still like, they're good, but they're not, great. Then everyone over the weekend comes out, even us, both of us said, Georgia's going to run away with this game.
But do you remember what I said, though?
No.
I said I'm going to pick Georgia, but I don't feel great about it.
Everyone...
So I was on the fence.
You were on the fence. I'm like, Georgia's going to win this game hands down. Everyone on College Game Day said, Georgia's going to win this game hands down. It's going to get ugly.
Oh, it got ugly.
It did get ugly, but not how everyone thought it was. LSU showed up to play Saturday, and they made it. That was a statement on Saturday. They said, we don't care what your rank is. We're going to beat you. And now, LSU has a chance. I think they've got a chance. I don't know if it's going to happen. They've got a chance to beat Alabama in a few weeks. Like I said, I'm not saying they're going to do it. I'm not saying it's going to happen. There's a chance.
So you're saying
that they can beat Alabama.
So you're saying there's a chance.
There is a chance because Alabama, their defense is kind of shaky right now. They've had a lot of people go down with injuries in the past few weeks. Nothing really serious, but there's enough to be worried if you're Alabama fans in your defense.
Yeah.
LSU, what they are going to have to do to get ready for this Alabama game is they're going to have to be able to cover the deep ball, which is one of Alabama's specialties.
Yeah.
It's going to be a fun game. And I think LSU's up to the test. And I think it's going to be really fun. LSU, I'm sorry we doubted you.
I thought LSU was a good team, don't get me wrong. But I don't know. I didn't think that it would show up against Georgia.
Sure.
Is what I'm going with.
I don't think anyone did.
I thought they would lose to Georgia and Alabama, as they should have, as the world dictates. And they still would have had a really solid year. But now LSU was like, hey, you guys were trying to put us down. All we got to do as LSU is beat Alabama. And then lo and behold, guess what that means? If LSU beats Alabama, they now hold the tiebreaker. Now that does mean they got to win out the rest of their schedule. They got to beat Alabama, and they can't drop to A&M at the end of the year.
And they can't lose to Mississippi State.
But they control their destiny at that point. And that's the important thing, is controlling your own destiny.
And then they get a rematch with either Florida or Georgia, or maybe they get a first-time match against Kentucky.
Oh, Kentucky. How I can hope they can reach it somehow, some way. But, Brooks, let's segue into this past weekend to our picks. Brooks. And our picks did not go well. I believe.
Sure didn't.
I believe I went 5-5. You had a measly 3 games. You were 3-7.
1, 2, 3. Yeah, you went 5-5.
I mean, I calculated it. I can remember on top of my head. Brooks, let's see. You picked Auburn, you picked Georgia, you picked Penn State, West Virginia, Wisconsin, Miami, and Colorado. The only ones I give you, a hard time about is Colorado and Wisconsin. But the other ones...
But those weren't bad picks, though.
Colorado was a bad pick.
How?
Wisconsin, no.
Colorado's on 19. It was at 19 going into
but they're playing USC, and like we said last week, they ain't played nobody.
I'm still standing by my Colorado pick.
They were on the road. That wasn't a smart pick.
I still stand by that pick because it was number 19.
You do you, but it's still a bad pick.
Also, if you want to call this a commanding lead, I'll give you that this week since it's a 4-game lead.
It's a 4-game lead now. Bro, that's commanding in my eyes. Let's say I am on the season 40-26 in college pick'em. 44-26?
Yeah.
Ooh, you're 40-30.
C.
I'm going to try to get to the big 50 mark this time around. Brooks, I have the games that we're picking this week. Do you want to go ahead and know what they are, or do you want to save them for Thursday?
I'd like to save them for Thursday. We can just talk about what went wrong this week.
Okay, well, let's go this way. I want to...
No, you know what? Let's go through those because you already know them, so I need a chance to have myself to prepare.
Okay. So this week was kind of hard. I once again looked at FCS games. There wasn't any good ones. One of these days, we're going to pick an FCS game.
Okay.
It's going to be fun. Our first game up, Mississippi State, LSU. Michigan State, big rivalry game.
Yeah.
Oklahoma, TCU.
Okay.
NC State, Clemson.
That'll be a good one.
Oregon, Washington State.
Let's go O.
Auburn, Ole Miss.
Mm-hmm.
USC on the road to Utah.
Okay, that'll be an interesting game.
Colorado taking on Washington.
That'll be interesting. Washington try to bounce back.
I believe in the 3rd week in a row, we're picking an Iowa game. Maryland against Iowa.
Okay.
I don't know what my infatuation with Iowa is. And then Vanderbilt versus Kentucky.
Oh, cool.
You can see I started scraping the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah.
For some of these games. But there wasn't any other interesting games to pick or in the FCS world.
Yeah.
But yeah, those will be the games that we'll pick on Thursday, and hopefully I can extend my lead.
Don't plan on it.
I'm planning on it, especially if you make a pick like Colorado over USC again.
Wasn't a bad pick. I'm defend that pick.
So we're going into week 8 of college football?
Yes.
Next week, we will have our first edition of our playoff teams. Because if you didn't know, the College Football Playoff Committee's first rankings come out on the 30th of October. And so next Tuesday's show, which is not the 30th, but it'll be, I believe, 1 week ahead of College Football Committee, we will release our own playoff rankings. Okay? We already do like a little top 25, but this will be the first time that we put, these are the top teams that we are considering. It'll be in a bracket formation, so we'll have 1 and 4, 2 and 3, and then we'll have the next 4 teams looking in. And that's how we'll do it. So it'll be like the top 8. And we'll go from there. And we'll see if we can match the College Football Playoff Committee.
I'm going to be interested to see where they rank in 2 weeks, where everyone gets ranked. Because, you have the AP poll. And so you've got, it's set out, and you know how they're ranked. But the playoff committee has its own guidelines how they rank everyone. So it's going to be interesting to see where they rank a team like Clemson, who is, top 3 right now. But could they be like a 4 or a 5 in 2 weeks with the playoff committee because they are how they've played this year. And will Notre Dame be up there in the top 4?
They should, hopefully. Now, I guess the real question is, and let's talk about this for a second. Let's talk about these group of 5 teams. You got UCF, who after all the chaos of last week did not move at all in the rankings. They played Memphis close. Memphis played them close. And that kind of hurt UFC's stock of jumping up. So they stay at 10. South Florida and Cincinnati are now top 25 teams. The whole talk about the Coastal playoffs has been, can a group of 5 team make it? And there are 3 group of 5 teams in the top 25. But what does that mean for the playoff committee?
It means it's a little bit of noise.
A little bit of noise.
I don't think they rank any of them in the top 10.
So
I don't think they have the resume.
They don't. But let's go in a hypothetical. If UCF has to play a top 25 USF and a top 25 Cincinnati, they have to play each other. If UCF beats those teams, does that give them the resume? Now, the resume is not going to match the likes of LSU.
No.
But
it gives them a potential resume if everyone else fails. If they didn't move. There are this many teams in front of them, however the playoff ranks them. That means that they see that those teams have a better resume and have played better competition. Yes, you may have played 2 top 25 teams, but you haven't played top 25 teams almost every week, like a Michigan or a LSU or a Notre Dame. You haven't played and beaten top 15 teams. You haven't played and beaten top 10 teams. You haven't played and beaten top 5 teams. So you may beat 2 top 25 teams, but they're both from your conference, and they have the same type of resume that you have.
I mean, no, I understand all that. Yeah. I guess what I'm getting at is there a chance?
In a far out scenario, there's a chance.
There has to be a lot of chaos. But Brooks, me and you are fans of chaos.
I love chaos.
And after this break, Brooks, we're going to talk about chaos.
I love it.
You know what we're going to talk about?
What is that?
A potential 4-way tie in the a potential 7-way tie in the ACC Coastal.
Ooh.
That's chaos if I've ever heard it.
I like it.
You're listening to the Extra Point here on WEGL 91.1 FM or online at WEGLFM.com.
I believe that this is a practical world.
And that I can count only on what I earn.
Therefore, I believe in work. Hard work.
I believe in education,
which gives me the knowledge to work wisely
and trains my mind and my hands to work skillfully.
I believe in honesty and truthfulness,
without which I cannot win.
The respect and confidence of my fellow men.
I believe in a sound mind
and a sound body
and a spirit that is not afraid.
Not afraid.
Not afraid.
And in clean sports
that develop these qualities.
I believe in obedience to law
because it protects the rights of all.
I believe in the human touch,
which cultivates sympathy with my fellow men,
and mutual helpfulness,
and brings happiness for all.
For all.
For all.
I believe in my country
because it is a land of freedom,
and because it is my own home,
and that I can best serve that country
by doing justly,
loving mercy,
and walking humbly with my God.
And because Auburn men
and women
believe in these things,
I believe in Auburn.
I believe in Auburn.
I believe in Auburn.
I believe in Auburn and love it.
And welcome back into the Extra Point here on WEGL 91.1 FM or online at WEGLFM.com. If you always want to catch us, you can catch us on SoundCloud and iTunes on podcasts by searching WEGL 91.1 FM. If you want to catch us and how we look in our pretty faces, you can catch us on Eagle Eye TV Channel 6, which is now public access, I believe.
Not sure yet.
We'll get back to you on that. And then you can also catch us on EagleEyeAuburn.com and Eagle Eye's YouTube page at Eagle Eye TV Channel 6. And also, if you look at us in video format, right below, at The Real Brooksy, at Jared_Dillard, you can follow us on Twitter at those handles. Brooks.
Make me more Twitter famous than Jared. #lit.
That's, okay, with the hashtag lit, that's not going to happen. I don't think you know how Twitter works, but it ain't like that. But Brooks, we were talking about chaos before heading to break, and I wanted to bring up something that can possibly happen in the world of college football.
Okay.
And it is the possibility of a 7-way tie in the ACC Coastal.
How many teams are in the Coastal?
7.
So everyone could be tied for the first place.
Yes. Brooks, hold on. Everybody, hold on for this. Get out your notebooks.
I gotta take notes. I gotta hear the scenario. Woo.
Get out your notebooks. Get ready to write this down. In order for a 7-way tie to happen, here we go. Miami has to beat Virginia Tech and Duke.
Okay, doable.
Virginia Tech has to beat Pitt.
Doable.
Pitt beats Miami and Virginia.
Doable after this weekend.
Virginia beats Virginia Tech in North Carolina.
Very doable.
Virginia Tech, though? Can Virginia beat Virginia Tech?
Yeah.
UNC has to beat Georgia Tech and Duke.
That's where he hit a bump. I don't have confidence in North Carolina this year.
Duke beats Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Virginia.
Okay.
And Wake Forest.
All right.
This is where the wheels fall off the bus right here. Georgia Tech has to beat Miami, Virginia Tech, and Virginia. And that is how you end up in a 4-way tie.
I thought you said a 7-way tie.
I'm sorry, 7-way tie for the Coastal. I'm sorry, it's a 7-way tie for 4-4. So all these teams end up 4-4 in the conference with tiebreakers against everybody.
So who would get the nod for the championship game?
I don't know. That's for the ACC to figure out. I just want them to put together like a tournament. So the top team, the highest ranked team, gets a bye. And then there's 6 teams that play a game, and then the top team out of that plays that team that had a bye, and the other 2 teams play. It's a 4-team tournament after that. It's a mini college football playoff inside the college football playoff. It's a mini college football playoff in the race for the ACC to determine who goes to the college football playoff. I love it. It's like 4D chess, but not really.
We're down here playing checkers with Alabama and LSU, and the ACC Coastal Division is playing 4D chess with everyone.
So I just think that, it's interesting. It's very interesting. But Brooks, let's segue. We don't have much time, and I want to be able to get the feeling out there.
All right.
The NBA basketball is back tonight. First game of the season, 76ers tip off against the Boston Celtics in Boston. Brooks, we were having a discussion earlier. Well, not me and you, but me and somebody else. And we've had a discussion probably for the past 3 years. Mm-hmm. Is the finals already written in stone what they're going to be?
I don't think so.
So it's not going to be Golden State Boston.
I mean, it could. That's who I think it's going to be, is Golden State Boston. But it's not as cut and dry as it has been. Like, in the past years, you're like, it's going to be Golden State. Who else could challenge them in the West? And it's going to be Cleveland because they have LeBron and who's going to challenge them. Now LeBron is gone. LeBron has left Cleveland, and I think it's better odds for all the other teams in the East because the Celtics are good. The Celtics are really good, but the 76ers are also really good. The Raptors picked up Kawhi Leonard, that will greatly improve their chances of making it to the finals. Miami's always in there as a contender. The Wizards always make the playoffs. They're always in there. I'm not saying the Heat or the Wizards are, going to challenge Boston for that number for the finals, but there's potential. They've got talented teams. I don't know who else is in the East. Milwaukee is in the East. If Giannis can get, playing like he should, he's a really good player. But when it comes down to like clutch situations, he's kind of like in the playoffs, he's kind of shaky. But that's also been like LeBron has also played him too. So you're kind of comparing with LeBron in those playoff scenarios. I think the East is more wide open than it has been in the past years. I still think Boston's still the favorite to win it because they've got probably the most talented team, especially since you're getting back Gordon Hayward. And I'm sure that he's going to watch out because it was opening night on TNT last year that the incident happened.
Yeah. I remember watching that live.
Yeah.
And then I rewinded and made us watch it again.
I did not like that. Like, I stopped watching after the third rewind, or the second rewind.
I'm sorry.
In the West, obviously you're going to put Golden State as like, boom, number one.
And Rockets, boom, number two?
I'd say Rockets have a really good chance to make a run at the Warriors and kind of upset them. You've got if everything gets settled, the Timberwolves are a really good team. I don't know if Jimmy Butler's going to be there. If Jimmy Butler goes to a team like the Heat, I think the Heat instantly become a title or a Eastern Conference title contender at least. Who else is in the West? Oklahoma City, they're going to have a little revitalization, I think. The Lakers, I don't think they're going to be on that level yet, but you still got to consider them. They've got the best player in the world on their team. And you saw what Cleveland put together last year on a team around him. That wasn't much better than this Lakers team, and they made the finals. And did they get swept? Or did they win a game?
Who did? What?
Cleveland.
Cleveland?
Did they get swept this past year, or did they win a game?
I believe they won a game. One.
See, they go in like Cleveland was not high and above last year, a better team than this Lakers team is, and they had LeBron and they made the finals. So I'm not going to rule out the Lakers. The Lakers, they're probably not going to make it. I don't think they're going to have the chemistry year one. I think it's going to be a lot of growing pains with LeBron, but you still can't rule them out. Portland's always a good team. There is so many good teams right now. The Spurs, you can never rule out the Spurs. They're kind of shaky. I think they're going to be down a little bit this year, but you can never rule them out. It's going to be interesting to watch this year. I still think the favorites, of course, are Boston and Golden State to make the finals.
But it's not written in stone.
It's not by any means written in stone.
Is the East a two-man race?
Between
Boston
Sixers?
and Philadelphia, yes.
Right now to begin the season, I think it is. But if Kawhi and Toronto can gel, I think they can put up a fight and be right there with those two. And then if, like I said a minute ago, if Jimmy Butler goes to like Miami or somewhere that can be competitive, I think Miami can be a contender. So I think it could be up to a four-team race. But right now to begin the year, I think it is, it's Boston, it's Philadelphia, and then everyone else is below them.
Well, Brooks, let me tell you what we're going to do. We are going to take a quick break. When we come back, we can hit up on the baseball, okay? Because I believe...
The baseball.
We're going to hit on the baseball. Because Brewers take a 2-1 lead on the Dodgers. They play tonight again. And then guess what comes back? Red Sox. Red Sox Astros are back tonight. I believe that game is now in Houston.
It is at 4:09 p.m. Central.
So we can talk about those two games and kind of touch back on baseball and setting up the World Series. So we'll come back, we'll do that. You listen to the Extra Point here on WEGL 91.1 FM or online at WEGLFM.com.
This is a place where it only takes a second to imagine your future. Grasp a new concept in class. Inspire a child's curiosity. Discover a real-world solution. Seize an unexpected opportunity.
There goes Davis!
This is where you gain the preparation, confidence, and determination to succeed. This is Auburn.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
And welcome back into the studio. You're listening to the Extra Point here on WEGL 91.1 FM or online at WEGLFM.com. This is our last segment. We're going to talk MLB Championship Series, NL and the AL, both going down today. Remember, if you want to catch up on the Extra Point, you can find us on SoundCloud and on iTunes by searching WEGL 91.1 FM. You can also catch our show online at WEGLFM.com. And then, over on the TV side, guess what? We are on TV. You can find us and our pretty faces on Eagle Eye TV Channel 6, EagleEyeAuburn.com, Eagle Eye TV's YouTube page at Eagle Eye TV, and also, I believe, public access.
Unconfirmed, but we will
unconfirmed, but we're going to figure it out. We're going to figure it out eventually. But once we invade your homes, we're like bed bugs. We don't leave unless you burn us out.
That seems extreme.
No, I'm going with it. Okay. Anyway, let's talk baseball. Let's talk World Series. Let's talk Championship Series, okay?
All right.
So first game tonight, I believe, is going to be Boston-Houston.
It is.
Tied at 1?
Tied at 1.
You said 4:09 Central Time?
4:09 p.m. Central Time on TBS.
Boston-Houston, traded blows in Boston. I think it was big that the Astros got a win in Boston. That would concern me the most about both That would concern me most about the Brewers and not the Dodgers. That would concern me most about the Brewers and the Astros was winning a game away from home. Yeah, the Astros were able to pick up one. Now they got 3 straight games at their place. That bodes well for them. Okay, and the Brewers last night were able to pick up a win on the road as well. So you go up 2-1 on the Dodgers. You only have 2 more road games. You know, worst case scenario, you lose both of those. At least, yes, you're down 3-2, but the last 2 games are at home. You get to control that.
Yeah.
Houston, they get to go home. They get 3 straight. They can end the series in their hometown. What sucks for them is that, if they win the first one, yay. But if you lose the next 2, if you lose 2 out of 3 of those, you got to go back to Boston down 3-2. You don't want to do that.
Yeah, so that's a great playoff atmosphere.
But the Astros, the ball's in their court. They just got to win now. The Brewers, they've taken a commanding lead on the Dodgers based on home field advantage. So kudos to both those teams. That's what I worried about for both those teams. So them being able to get that really turned the tide on the series. Brooks, let's preview Boston-Houston right quick. What is the biggest thing right now for Boston to get a big win on the road? What do they have to change?
They need a little bit better pitching. I've seen in the first 2 games that they've given up runs.
And it seemed like, and correct me if I'm wrong, pitching is what kind of ailed them against the Yankees a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. It also didn't help that you played games in Yankee Stadium, which is a launching pad.
That does not help. You're right.
So the Red Sox need to sustain hitting, and they also need to kind of shore up their pitching a little bit. I think that they will. I think they've got the talent. They've got the pitching talent that they can win this series, but they're going to need to be able to quiet the Houston bats, and that's really hard to do. Just ask everyone they've played this year. So
that's true, yeah.
Houston, what you need to do is you need to come out and you need to keep swinging. Because you're at home, the more hits you get, and not just, you don't necessarily need to get runs, but the more hits you get, the louder your crowd's going to get, the more excited your crowd's going to get, and that's going to lead to more momentum and more runs because you're feeding off your crowd's energy. And that's a good crowd in Houston. So, Boston, you need to do the opposite. You need to make sure that you start hitting them out of the ballpark, and your pitching needs to quiet their bats. And I think this game could go 7, the way it's looking right now.
What about Milwaukee, LA? Now, I can already tell you what Milwaukee's done well. Their pitching has been outstanding.
Oh, it has been.
Not only that, but they've had the run support.
Yeah, Milwaukee has been playing out of their minds, and I think what demonstrated that was going in your first playoff game on the road, or your first NLCS game on the road at Los Angeles. Really great playoff environment, and you get a win.
They set the tone.
They went in, they won game 1, lost game 2, and then they said, we're not afraid of Dodger Stadium, won game 2, and they've got a chance to take a 3-1 lead tonight.
And I'm going to say this right now. If the Brewers win tonight, the series is over. I do not believe the Dodgers can win 3 straight against the Brewers.
It's going to be really hard.
The way the Brewers are playing, out of their mind. They're playing like it is the World Series right now. Out of the 4 teams still left, the Brewers are probably the best team right now, in my mind.
They're playing the best right now. I'm not going to say they're the best team,
but
they're playing the best baseball right now.
If you're playing the best, doesn't that make you the best?
No, not necessarily, because Alabama struggled this past weekend against Missouri, but they're still the best team in college football.
I mean, they struggled, but they still won by almost 30 points.
Yeah, but you could argue that, team like LSU played better overall in their game than Alabama did. That doesn't make LSU better right now than Alabama.
I guess I can see your point, yeah.
So, I think that Milwaukee is playing the best baseball right now. And I think Milwaukee's got if they keep playing baseball like this, I don't see them not winning the World Series. But they've still got to hit the roadblocks that is Boston and or Houston when they get there. If they get there, because the Dodgers could still come back and win the series.
Yeah.
But if the Brewers play like they have in the past 3 games, and they get the win tonight and take a 3-1 lead, like you said, it's over.
All right, tell me. Boston, Houston, who wins tonight?
Tonight, I'm going to say Houston gets a home win to set the tone at home.
I'm going to say Houston as well. Dodgers, Brewers, who wins tonight?
I think the Brewers have the momentum right now. Even though you're playing at Dodger Stadium, I think the Brewers win it and take a 3-1 commanding lead.
I want to pick Brewers, but I feel like the Dodgers are going to fight back. I feel like after they disappoint themselves, they always fight back hard.
Yeah.
And this could be the night they do it. I don't know. I reluctantly picked the Brewers. But I assume on Thursday when we come back that the Dodgers would have won a game. Now, that being said, we're going to end the show right here. But let's go ahead and do our guarantees for Thursday. So when we come back on Thursday, what is guaranteed to happen?
Guaranteed to happen?
Yes.
When do the Lakers play their first game?
Thursday.
Thursday? Well, then I can't do that. You know what? I'll guarantee this, that the U.S. men's national team will beat Peru tonight.
I don't like your odds.
They will. It's going to happen.
I'll guarantee this. I'll go on a limb, Brooks. By the time we return Thursday, the Brewers will be your NLCS champions.
Wow, that's bold.
That's bold.
I like it.
I think the Dodgers are going to win tonight, but if I'm going to be bold, I've got to flex my muscles a little bit, Brooks. The Brewers win tonight, they win Wednesday, and by the time we come back Thursday, the Brewers will be your NLCS champion. That is my guarantee for Thursday.
I like it.
Well, thank you for listening to the Extra Point here on WEGL 91.1 FM or online at WEGLFM.com. If you want to catch up with us or any of our shows, you can catch up on SoundCloud or iTunes at WEGL 91.1 FM. If you want to catch us in video format, you can, because we're on TV. You can catch us on Eagle Eye TV, Channel 6, online at Eagle Eye TV or EagleEyeAuburn.com. Eagle Eye TV's YouTube page at Eagle Eye TV Channel 6, and I believe, and we're going to go out there and get confirmation on this.
Yes.
We are on public access on Channel 6 inside the city of Auburn.
Don't quote us on that just yet.
Don't quote us on that, but quote us on that. For at the real Brooks C, Brooks Childress.
Row the boat.
And for me, Jared Dillard at Jared_Dillard. That's going to do it for the show for today. So long, and we will see you and hopefully our NLCS champion Brewers on Thursday.
Let's go Brew Crew.